Our inspirational music this morning was titled Peace for Today. Can you hear me okay in here? Can you hear me okay in Zoom? Okay. My computer gave me a note that I was muted, but I'm hearing everything okay. So just a little quick check. So welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, whether you're joining us here in person, via Zoom, or part of our extended family in Facebook and on YouTube. Just a quick reminder that this Thursday, November 23rd, will be our Thanksgiving Day gratitude, meditation, and sharing time. And we are gathering via Zoom only. We will not be meeting in person, Zoom only from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So we invite you to Zoom in and share your expressions of gratitude during this Thanksgiving season. Ernest Holmes says this about Thanksgiving in our Science of Mind textbook on page 636. When we speak words of thanksgiving to the God within, knowing that, as the Spirit says, before we speak, it is answered. There is something in thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith, acceptance, and receptivity. Gratitude is the power that attracts and magnifies the hidden potentialities of life. And so we're continuing our November series, The Mundane, the Sacred, and the Profane, oh my. And today we delve into the profane. The concept of profanity is a social construct. People in various cultures decided some words or expressions of our humanity or other practices were profane. Humans are designed for physical connection, yet this natural design of how we interact with our bodies is often classified as profane. I have a newsflash for you, just in case you forgot, just in case. God expresses as everything, absolutely everything, including the profane. The words we use, the clothes we wear, how we style our hair, how we present ourselves does not define us. We are all expressions of God. Let us remember that. Let us connect that to our congregational song that says, I am the place where God shows up. So just as I am, I am the place where God shows up because God expresses as everything. Studying and practicing the science of mind gives us the passion for new possibilities, along with precise and clear directions for building a new matrix of mind and manifestation. It shows us how to achieve the constructive imagination and how to hold in thought and feeling the intention and energy of healing, wholeness, and co-creation. And I found this little piece of humor that I think amplifies that quote that I just read by Ernest Holmes. Some of you may have heard this story and may be familiar with it. But the story goes, a grandmother and her grandson were at the beach. He's playing in the water. She's standing on the shore when all of a sudden a huge wave disappears from nowhere, crashes into the spot where her grandson is waiting. The water recedes and the boy is no longer there. He's been swept away. The grandmother, being a good spiritual practitioner of new thought, gets on her knees and begins to pray. She creates a mental equivalent of our grandson playing on the beach. She releases all worry of his absence and fully accepts that he is returned to her. She expresses gratitude for his safe return and concludes the prayer by saying, "And so it is." And just to illustrate how powerful this prayer is, a voice booms from the sky and says, "All right already." A moment later, another huge wave appeared out of nowhere and crashed on the beach. As the water receded, the boy is standing there. He's smiling, splashing around as if nothing had ever happened. And so the voice booms again. "There, are you satisfied?" The grandmother responds, "He had a hat, you know." We laugh, and at the same time, we recognize that this is a demonstration of faith in the power of the mind to create what we desire in life. This story invites us into a deeper meaning and an understanding of using the creative intelligence of the universe. Holmes makes it clear that exploring life, our bodies, and humanity is a holy experience. And this invites us to a deeper understanding and a realization that what we identify as profane is truly discovering and expressing our authentic nature. This is what life is about, discovering and expressing our authentic nature as expressions of the divine. So what does it mean to be profane? The dictionary defines profane as referring to that which is associated with the secular or not religious. It is considered an antonym of the sacred. And this may lead us to ask, is the use of curse words expressing raw sexuality or believing in unconventional ideas about God profane? Think about that. Think about our backgrounds, our cultural traditions and teachings. In Science of Mind, we understand that all is creative. And as we expand our thinking, we know God is present in every experience, including what we call the profane. Who are we to judge the creative expression of spirit itself? What we may consider as profane invites us to a deeper dive into our understanding of the oneness of all life. Is using curse words a defiance of God or a defiant form of self-expression? This concept of profanity, gestures, and practices changes from culture to culture. For example, a thumbs up is a positive sign in American culture. However, it is the equivalent of giving the middle finger to someone in an Eastern culture. In Japan and in certain European countries, tipping money for services is considered insulting. I had an experience of that when I was in France last year. I offered a tip to someone for service, and I didn't realize how offensive that was to that individual, but I did insist that they, accept it and move through that experience. But it was a reminder to be aware of what the cultural norms are for the places that I am in that moment. Sexuality is taboo in some cultures and embraced in others. When we observe humans' treatment of each other, we ask, could it be considered profane? The prevalence of human trafficking, mass incarceration, and over-policing of impoverished people may be considered more profane than the use of culturally defined curse words. Governments that value the lives of rich while their country's citizens are hungry and living on the streets is considered profane. Or maybe religious organizations that focus on tradition and ritual instead of the invitation to deepen one's relationship with spirit could be considered profane. Just offering examples. To some people, the word God is profane. And often this is a result of being religiously and culturally abused by the idea of a judging and capricious God. Being intentional about our Centers for Spiritual Living vision of a world that works for everyone requires expanding our understanding of the profane. It then becomes essential for our spiritual centers to host events and activities that appeal to people from all walks of life. Ernest Holmes offers this for us to consider. All of life is bound together by one common law of love, and love is the self-givingness of spirit to all. And this is from the Science of Mind textbook on page 330. And so a few takeaway points that I offer you this morning is shaking off old ideas of what constitutes spirituality allows us to make room for the profane to enter the sacred, resonating. Shaking off old ideas of what constitutes spirituality allows us to make room for the profane to enter into the sacred, recognizing that God exists in everything. Exploring our understanding of the profane allows us to reframe and to expand our cultural perspectives and empowers us to create brave new spaces to share our truth with the community. This is our call to be authentic. Hosting events that others may deem controversial allows us to move out of our comfort zone and include people from all walks of life to participate in our communities. And a couple of examples that were offered in the area of cultural activities that we may deem not totally religious or spiritual was the idea of having DJs spinning records for a Sunday morning gathering. Now, this may not appeal to certain adults, but I'm sure it would appeal to teenagers and young adults. So that may be another way of opening the door to invite people that would not normally come into our centers. It's a way of including people from all walks of life into our communities. And so I offer this as an activity to support our personal spiritual practice for the week. If you are comfortable with the profane, take some time to consider how comfortable you are with expressing yourself authentically. Can you stand in your truth? Or do others' opinions of you affect how you personally present yourself? This leads us to our weekly affirmation. And I invite us to say this together. I am holy, being just the way I am. Let us say that again. I am holy, being just the way that I am. And I invite us now to turn within as we continue to recognize that everything is sacred, everything is holy. And I know this to be the truth because there is only one life. There is only one power. There is only one presence. There is only one energy that is holding everything in absolute harmony. Today, I call this God. And yet I know that this energy, this source is known by many different names and is recognized and honored in many different traditions. And so recognizing that everything is holy, I unite myself with this idea of the holy. I unite myself with this idea of the all-prevailing presence of spirit, knowing that I am a unique, individualized expression of the Spirit, expressing authentically just as I am. And as I know this truth for myself, I embrace it, I know it, I acknowledge it, and I declare it as the truth for all people in all places everywhere. Knowing that each one is an individualized representation of Spirit, expressing themselves wholly and authentically just as they are. And this is in this expression of authenticity My approval is not required. The only approval that I seek is that of knowing that the God within me is expressing authentically as me. And as I love myself, as I approve of myself, as I travel on this journey doing the very best that I can, I know that everything unfolds in my life in divine, right, and perfect order. And what is true for me is also true for everyone. And so I know that as I speak this word of gratitude, as I speak this word of appreciation, as I speak this word of recognizing that God is absolutely all that there is, I know that divine order is prevailing throughout the entire planet. I speak my word of peace this morning, recognizing that when there is peace in my heart, there is peace in my mind, and there is peace in the entire world. And what is being called for right now in the world of effect is that inner knowing that the peace of God that surpasses all understanding, all human understanding, is that which is resting, riding, and abiding and ruling my life right here and right now. And so as I tap into this place of peace, I know that peace prevails. I'm declaring wholeness in the activity of all of our lives, knowing that whatever it is that is required to live a holy, to live a prosperous, to live an abundant, to live a life of health and happiness and opulence is already provided. And the scripture says we have not because we ask not. And so now is that opportunity to speak our own individual word into the universe, declaring, not begging, not pleading, but declaring, this is what I require to live a happy, a prosperous, abundant, and an opulent life. And for those who are experiencing transitions in life, however those transitions are showing up, I just reaffirm that God is all that there is. And I declare that peace is prevailing in each and every situation. And so for this and so much more than I have words to speak in this moment, I give thanks. Releasing this word back into that law which always says yes, I just allow it to be. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, I invite you to affirm it as we say, and so it is. And just a reminder, don't leave here with a problem. We have prayer request forms on our prayer table. I invite you to fill out a treatment request. For those of you who are viewing online, we have practitioners and ministers that are available to support you in prayer, and you may connect with us. Our contact information is on our website, www.montereycsl.org. So we invite you to allow us the opportunity to pray with you and to support you in whatever it is that is happening in your life. Also on our website, we have a secure prayer request form that you may fill out and send in, and the ministers and practitioners will be in prayer with you as well as for you. Now is the time to express our gratitude through our gracious giving. And we have a statement of abundance I invite us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so there are ways to contribute to the center that are on the screen for those of you who are viewing virtually. You may mail in your donation, and our mailing address is on the screen. You may text to give. That number is on our screen, and you also may donate through our website. And for those who are here in the center, we have a donation box on our little hospitality table in the fellowship area, and you may leave your donations there. We appreciate and are very honored by the way that you support our center. And so just a quick reminder for our Facebook and YouTube friends and those who are viewing virtually, our Thanksgiving Day celebration is on Thursday morning from 10 a.m. to 10:30, and this will be via Zoom only. And immediately following service today is our town hall meeting. And on next Sunday is our spiritual living discussion circle that will be hosted here in the center and will also be available online. And so now I'd like to take an opportunity for just a few moments to open up for any sharing